But the left, and particularly the Socialist Party, were of course raising far more fundamental questions, which I will go into, and really the media was just unable to cover up this important aspect of the campaign.
Och vänstern, och speciellt Socialist Party, vi tog ju förstås upp mycket viktigare och mer fundamentala frågor i Lissabonfördraget som inte alls täcktes upp någonting i media.
Jo, som de kunde inte dölja.
Ja, de kunde inte dölja media. Okay.
Now, a little bit about the Lisbon Treaty itself and why it was so important for our section, for the CWI section in Ireland, to be to the forefront of opposition. The Lisbon Treaty was presented as an amendment to the two fundamental basic treaties of the European Union, the Treaty of Rome and the Maastricht Treaty. It amounted to 260 pages of complex legal provisions, and indeed the complexity of the treaty and the difficult way that it was structured became a major source of controversy itself in Ireland. In fact, the Irish Prime Minister said that he hadn't read the treaty. And the Irish Commissioner in Brussels said 2 weeks before the vote, you would have to be mad to spend your time reading this treaty. Now, that Commissioner is a bit mad himself, but as you can see, the yes side is already has some analyses, let us say, in presenting this document to the Irish people. The Socialist Party, however, did study the treaty and analyse it in great detail, and came up with a number of key fundamental issues arising from it. And Lisbon was really represented an extension of the neoliberal economic agenda that has been pushed by the European Union, big business and political elite for many years now. Most significant in that regard was the common commercial policy in the treaty, which dealt with how public services should be treated in negotiations between the European Union Commission and the World Trade Organization. At the present time, each member state in the European Union has a veto on proposals that come out of negotiations between the EU Commission and the WTO in regard to whether public services, like health and education for example, should be opened out to multinational investment. And what was being proposed really was that key public services could now be could become part of the market, the world market, but transnational corporations having a right to be able, as of right, to invest, in other words, an extension of privatization into public services. And the veto was being removed by Lisbon on such proposals. And therefore what we argued was that a further liberalization of public services, a further privatization could be achieved by a qualified majority vote of the EU ministers imposing a new regime in how public services would be traded after Lisbon, especially bearing in mind the fact that virtually all the EU governments are of a neoliberal conviction now. We know already that the EU institutions, particularly the Commission, are entrenched neoliberal capitalist organizations, and that big business lobby groups like the European Round Table of Industrialists, which organizes all the major private corporations in the EU, really write the economic policy of the European Union. And Lisbon represented really another important installment in the neoliberal agenda of the EU.